and gentlemen from all ages and all virtues, doff your cap and raise your brow for Mingle and Murder, a deduction movement card placement set collection game set in Victorian Agatha Christie era for 5 to 10 players and takes about 45 minutes to play. In this game, players are guests of Agatha Christie's to her mansion home. Unfortunately, some of her guests are unsavory types. They are either trying to rob her and looking for a specific set of items and murdering the other guests by placing murder cards into the other player's hands. Get the loot and get out before the murderer gets you first. In expanded games with more players, the doctor and the inspector are added. The doctor needs to save 2 victims to win, and the inspector needs to collect 2 of the murder cards to catch the murderer and win the game. Let's see who wins first.
So what do we think about Mingle and Murder? Well, let's talk about it, shall we? Look and feel. Out of 2 points, I gave it 1.25. The game had a lot of a clue element to it, but I'm talking older Clue, right? Where the graphics weren't quite there. I really did like the components. They were metal or very unique wooden pieces. Love that part about it, but it just didn't seem to bring the Victorian era feel to it. In some places it seemed like they were going for it, but it almost seemed like a mismatched version. So on some cards you had a meeple like this, and then on other cards you had a kitchen where it did have the feel that I thought that we were going for. So sometimes it just felt like a little unbalanced. So I gave it 1.25 for that. What about balance and mechanics? Well, that's actually where this hit its major stride. Of all the games we've played so far on the Killer Challenge, I think this game probably had the coolest mechanics. Like I said, it was kind of a Clue theme to it, and it seemed like a Clue advanced, is kind of what it felt like. So under each room, you had different cards, and what you would do is you would put cards into that room and then shuffle it up and draw one back out. Or you would do the same for other people. By doing that, there was some misdirection in regards to if you were the murderer, maybe you played that murder card, you know, and maybe you're going to get away scot-free without anyone realizing that you put it there. People could maybe figure it out if they followed the path of where you went, but it seemed like there was a little bit of memory there and a little bit of chance, and I really did like that. So overall, 1.5 out of 2 on the balance and mechanics. Of course, I'm a sucker for deduction type games. Pace out of 1, I gave it 0.5. It seemed like there were times where the game kind of slowed down. It could just be because the number of players. I mean, it plays, I think it was 5 to 12, I want to say. That's a lot of players moving around on a small board. So I don't know what you could do to improve it. That's just how the game played for me. So 0.5 out of 1 there. In regards to theme, I really did like the Victorian theme, but it didn't seem to carry throughout. Like I said, the graphics had a bit of a mismatch, and I just didn't feel it. It could also be the meeple pawns. Maybe if you dressed them a little bit up, a little bit more like Clue characters, that would work. I did notice that on the guests, there was... So the yellow one, for instance, yellow meeple, was Sir Bertram Butterscotch, nephew of Aunt Agatha. Loved that. It's flavor text like that that really brings the theme through. On the bottom it says, I am not only Aunt Agatha's favorite nephew, I'm her only nephew as well. Things like that really work well, but it's just like the graphics, you know, and little meeple icons didn't seem to work out. And it could be because you're using the Game Crafter to do this, so you were really limited on what you could put in here, but there was some room for improvement there. Easy to learn, out of 1 point, I gave it 0.25. The rules were kind of confusing. I've been through a fair number of rules in my life, and these were kind of difficult. For instance, I wasn't quite sure on rule card number 4, there's 8 of these little cards, double-backed. On rule card number 4, it said, choose one of the following and then resolve all actions. So does that mean you get all 4 actions, or does it mean you only get the 1, but then you run out of cards? It just seemed confusing to me. So I guess I wasn't really sure how that worked out. And then they have examples that say steal from a player, where it shows you placing and then drawing. So maybe you get the combination of the two. We ended up playing with the steal and draw, or rather play and draw. So that way you're constantly keeping 5 cards. I don't know if that was right or not. So I gave it 0.25. It seems like if the rule book were cleared up quite a bit more, it would be a lot better. And then replayability out of 2 points, I gave it 1.25. I think that this game has a lot of replayability, assuming we're playing it right. The mechanics lead you down that avenue of every time you play it, it's going to be different. And that's awesome. Love that part about it. What I don't like about it is the number of players. 5 to 12 is a tough sell. But I will say there's a lot of games that maybe I have 8 friends, with me, and we can't find a game. Maybe this would be a great game to play. So overall, that's a 6 out of 10 for Mingle and Murder here on Gamers Remorse. All right, thanks for tuning in, guys. Bye. I think there were words I was going to say, but I'm drawing a blank now.